Hello humans, Master Dinnerflex here, bringing you the low quality content you deserve. And today, got an actual deck profile of agents. Now I will say this ahead of time, I did not go and buy the playset of Small World and Baroness. They weren't that, expensive is subjective, but they weren't that bad, but I didn't feel like paying for them until I actually went to an event. But I also don't like proxying cards, so I actually took this opportunity to show some alternate ideas for what would be in their slot, pretty much. Yeah, that's basically it. But yeah, this is Agents. Now, I guess let's get into it. I'll explain some of the choices while we're in it. So, for the Agents, 3 Earth. Yeah, it's the best normal summon in the deck. I do not play Diviner. I know it is truly this deck's only 1-card combo, but the fact that you have to play 2 bricks for it, and it's also not an agent name, so it can actually be very, very fragile to hand traps. Because since it's not an agent, it's much harder to use with any of the Hyperions and whatnot. So it's just very important that you evaluate which normal summon you have. But back to Diviner, the reason I don't like it is because of the same theory as Constellar Sheraton. And that's going to sound weird. But Constellar Sheraton is a 1-card rank 4. And you can play 3 of them. But the catch is you have to play 2 different bricks. Does that sound familiar? And no one plays it, despite the fact that any 1 rank 4 actually has a lot of value in this game. Because the truth is, 1 Garnet for a 3 of engine is alright, but once you start passing that, once the Garnets start matching up to the starters for it, is when it gets problematic. And that gets way worse when you consider this deck organically plays 4 Garnets, 3 Shine Ball, Sanctuary in the Sky. So, you don't actually want to do that. Trias is a brick. There's never a hand where you draw it and not Diviner and it matters at all, so it's a brick. And Bhutan, definitely a brick. Even Wadapon for the Venusless build, that makes no sense anymore. Yeah, that's also a brick. So, I decided not to play that, and instead, I maxed out on Venus. While it doesn't give you a tuner, there's a lot of extenders that just make a tuner. I also play Uranus in the deck, which is like a pretty easy fix to that. But also drawing Venus is nice, because if we draw the next card with it, Neptune and like an extender, it means even if they like Valor Imperm the Venus, it never matters. It will literally never matter when they do that, and because of that, it's very nice. Neptune is genuinely one of the best cards in the deck. It also doesn't target anything in the graveyard because it can special summon from the hand or graveyard, so it can avoid DD Crow, which is nice. But yeah, and then finally, for the 1 of agents, we got 1 Dark Venus. You just search it in the combo and use it in the combo, so that's very handy. And because I'm searching out Dark Venus in this combo instead of Christia, I don't play Christia, because Christia is also, yet again, one of those bricks. Because you want to reduce the amount of bricks in this deck as possible, because when you're not drawing bricks, you're drawing gas or like disruptions, hand traps, or whatever. So yeah, and then finally Uranus. It is kind of a brick, but it's actually very easy to use in this deck, because there's a lot of ways to just special summon, so you can unironically tribute summon this card, send a Venus and Neptune it back. That happens all the time, but it's actually very nice in the deck. It's very nice. But finally, for the last of the agent stuff, 3 Shine Ball. What's really funny is people don't. It's actually not that bad to draw. It is problematic when you're drawing multiple of them, because if you draw 1, you can just special summon it from the hand with Venus. That doesn't matter. So it really becomes problematic when you're drawing multiple, because that's taking up spot that could have been anything useful. So that's where it really matters. But otherwise, it's even fine. I have actually even normal summoned this card before to start making plays, so very nice. And then finally, the Hyperions. One Master Hyperion, self-explanatory. Not only is it a level 8 extender, but big boy, break cards, punch hard, very good. And then 2 Majesty Hyperion. I actually don't like this at all. But the reason I'm doing it is because DD Crow is literally everywhere. Everyone and their mother is playing DD Crow, so I had to have like a way to counter that, and like this is a way to do that. You could also play a level 5 Synchro. I believe its name is Dark Dimension Warrior. That could pull it back from Banish, but that was a little too try-hard. But anyways, for the rest of the monsters, we got the extenders. Guardian Iatos, definitely awesome. Yeah, it's a level 8 extender, and it and Earth is basically immune to every one hand trap in the game except Gamma, because if they hand trap Earth, you still make Neptune. Like, if they Valor Impermash it, you still make Flare Hyperion. If they Ogre the Earth, then you search Neptune and revive it back. If they let you go into Flare Hyperion and, like, hit it with that, you still send the Venus for cost, so you just Neptune the Venus back. Or if they hit it with Ogre, you Neptune the Venus back. Like, any one hand trap just won't matter if you open the autos plus Earth. So that's pretty nice. And then 1 Corobane. It should actually probably be at 2, because guess what else is at 2? But very nice. Also, it being level 5 can occasionally let you make Uranus with let you make Flare Hyperion with Uranus in this. So that's pretty funny. And then for the hand traps, triple Orange Light. Even though it can put cards in your graveyard which can shut off Iatos, if you have like Iatos Orange Light and you have to use Orange Light, just toss the Iatos. But it's just so good. It is really just so good, and the best part about this card is that it is a level 2 tuner, which matters so much. Then finally, for the last hand traps, this is because I don't have Small World, and I'll explain it soon, but triple Gamma Driver. I don't like this package at all, because, look, another Garnet. Something that, whenever I've built this deck, I try to eliminate as many Garnets as possible, so you have a very, very low number of them, because, like I said, this deck organically has Garnets in it. So you should always be keeping in mind what Garnets you're trying to put in the deck to begin with. And this one is so needless, because this deck, I believe, is 42. So this one is incredibly needless. But it's a hand trap that doesn't put itself into grave, so Iatos works with it fine. And because I'm not playing Small World, this can make Chaos Ruler, if like I have to use it on my turn, they like hit me with a Droll or whatever trash. I just hit him with this. I can make Chaos Ruler and like tutor some agents that way. Also fill up my graveyard, which is nice. But that's it for the monsters. On to the spells. We got triple Sacred Waters in the Sky. It's the Rhoda. I got someone chained Mistake in playtesting to this card. And it was the first time ever where I activated this card and it activated Sanctuary from my deck, just because I couldn't use the other effect. So, yeah, keep that in mind. That's funny. 2 ready, 1 instant. They're literally the same card. There's no functional difference between them. Except this one's like, I think it's because it's Ultra, it might just be as much. But regardless, I already had instant fusion. But I didn't want to go to 4 because I just didn't want to. These Clutter, they're not very valuable to draw because while they are a fairy on field, they're not a fairy in hand for Orange Light. So there's like a small cost, or a small weakness to that. But the benefit is that this is summoning a tuner, which is really important. So it's like up in the air which one I like better. But I think 3 is pretty fine for this. And then A card that actually, the only card I believe that helped, like the only card on the ban list that mattered in any way, shape, or form to this deck was double Light Stage. So now that Light Stage is back at 2, I'm playing 2. This is also a way that I don't have to play like Cosmic Cyclone or just anti-opponent cards that only do that, because this can hit branded in red just like Cosmic can, but it also gets me a fairy. So that's like really, really helpful. This coming back to 2 was actually pretty helpful for the deck, because now it's like it went from a random 1 of that could help you hit branded in red. Now it's a 2 of. I could even go a step further and put in terraforming, but I like this. I actually like this a lot. Last 2 spells, Sanctuary in the Sky requirement. Apparently, the ruling was upheld in the TCG that if you wouldn't take damage from a battle, your opponent wouldn't take damage from a battle if you were to reflect it with, like, not only the Lyrilisk, but also Majesty Hyperion. I don't know why they kept that rule, because those cards were very specifically designed to do that, but I don't know. That's what happens when you don't set ruling precedent. And then Called by the Grave. This card should have been banned. Yeah. Then for the traps, 1 Fallen Sanctuary. I actually like the TCG name of this card more. It went from Lost Sanctuary to Fallen Sanctuary, which is actually more in line to what has happened to the Sanctuary in the Sky. Post Dark Lord Advent, yada yada yada, Yu-Gi-Oh lore, I'm a nerd. And then Triple Impermanence. It's another hand trap that doesn't put a monster in the graveyard for Iatos, but in addition to that, it can also be used as a board breaker, and because of that, I actually like this a lot. It's kind of like Forbidden Chalice, except if you have to use the hand trap on their turn, it can do that as well. Yep, that's it for the main deck. For the extra deck, now, some of the, like I said, I don't have Baroness, so I've made some changes around because of that specifically. But let's get into it. We got 2 Moon. Now, I know a lot of people only play 1 of this, and I understand. It's not a very useful card once you dump Majesty Hyperion until you have Sanctuary in the Sky. Then it can search Earth, but that's like a turn 3 play, and this deck's a little too aggro for that to matter normally. However, the reality is you actually have to play games of Yu-Gi-Oh! And sometimes your opponent hand traps you or disrupts you to the point where you got to end with just some dudes on board and try to not die. And when you're trying to not die, having not only a second one come up matters, but in addition, the reason I play 2 of this, and this has been the case for a while, this card in your extra deck means this deck cannot lose to Skill Drain. And I don't mean that metaphorically. I mean, when your opponent summons Skill Drain, activates Skill Drain, you normal summon this, tribute it for cost off the field, blow up the Skill Drain, and now you can play normally. This card's ability to basically ignore the existence of Skill Drain for this deck is very powerful, and this also applies to multiple other floodgates as well. The fact that you could just MST something, you have an extra deck way to just MST any game 1 bullshit floodgate, or even most game 2 floodgates as well with this, is very, very nice. Next, for the rest of the links, we got Herald of Mirage Lights. Very important for my build of the combo, but it is definitely the most cuttable extra deck monster, but I would still put in a link over it. In its place, I should say. Fibrax went to 1, who cares? It didn't even matter in this deck what number it was, just as long as it wasn't 0. Parshath, very, 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 very good. And Apollosa for, again, the turn 1 board. And Apollosa being a fairy matters more than you could possibly imagine. That is not a joke. Then for the last 2 links, access code, I wouldn't even play this if it wasn't for the fact that some people are testing the Imposter deck now that Heat Soul's in the game. And because of that, like, yeah, I don't want to be screwed over by the dumb thing. So yeah, let me just summon access code talker. What a cool fate for all Towers monsters. And then finally, this is a specific meta call, which is pretty funny because it's just Nightmare Phoenix. But this deck gets really, really fucked over by Zombie World. And because of that, I wanted something in the extra deck that could interact with it. I already have stuff in my side deck that interacts with that side deck card, but I even wanted to take it a step further where Zombie World isn't going to be the factor. And that's what Nightmare Phoenix allows. And then, instant fusion target, Vanity, the bird of the bird. Yeah, it's a bird. Fairy Tuner. Dark Fairy Tuner, which is actually pretty nice. And then, for the Synchros. Now, I should explain something right now. There is no budget alternative to Baron. That is not an exaggeration. Literally, the moment I decide to go play a tournament with this card, I'm buying Baron. There is no alternative to it, because it's not the fact that it's a negate or a disruption. It is the fact that it's a very specific kind of interruption, and more importantly, literally the most important effect on Baron in this deck is its ability to pop cards, and that is not a joke. What I said earlier with the Nightmare Phoenix is that it's a way to not get screwed over by Zombie World, but another way to do that is to just summon Baron. You just pop the Zombie World, and it has like an insane application with Pluto, so there's no alternative that will meet Baron's conditions, so keep that in mind. Any card you would play over Baron is substantially worse. But that being said, there are a few options, but let me just go into the Synchros. Cupid Pitch, very important for this deck. It allows any Synchro to just also casually search Neptune for the follow-up, which is nice. Arclight, very nice. It's a fairy. I don't know why that matters. Pluto, very, very, very good. It's you can make it naturally, but most of the time you just tag it into with Fibrax, and Book of Moon's pretty nice. And also the ability to reset your soft once per turns, like in the case of Baron or Hyperion, I think. Yeah, there's just ways to reset once per turns with this card because it is a Book of Moon effect, so that's pretty cool. Now, because I'm playing the Gamma Driver package, I am playing Chaos Ruler. Now, I wouldn't recommend this card normally unless you already have, unless you're playing the Punk version, actually. There's a few Punk combos that can like make this matter a lot, but personally, I'm only doing that because of this. Chaos Ruler is pretty neat, but its main thing is just because of that, and because I'm not playing Baron, I need to find some cards to put in here. And in addition to that, Hot Red. So you actually make this with Uranus and Chaos Ruler. Uranus can manipulate its levels to be anything from 1 to 3 in this deck. Yeah, 1 to 3. And because you can make it level 1, you can make it in Chaos Ruler. And it gives you some Dark Ruler prevention. But again, I don't think you should play either of these cards. Diviner allows a combo for you to make this, but you use a different dragon in the process. But again, I'm not a fan of Diviner. I think adding so many garnets for just because you can say you have a 1-card combo is not good. And then finally, Master Flare Hyperion. So if I were to change things up, I would put another Synchro here and then a Baron. It would be like this Hot Red would be Baron, and this could be anywhere from Savage Dragon to the Formula FA monster. That one's pretty good, and it also has the same thing with like Pluto, where you don't reset its once per turn because that is a hard once per turn, but you actually reset its levels with Pluto, so you can just keep using it over and over and over again, which is very funny. But that's it for the extra deck, and finally the side deck. I normally don't show these off, but it's like kind of important to show it off in this case scenario because it allows you to make some pretty cool stuff. So, yep, the Shaddoll package. Why am I choosing this? Well, if you don't know, Construct is a level 8 light fairy, which is beyond relevant for this deck. Yeah, that's pretty handy. But also, when you Shaddoll Fusion into Construct, which is a level 8 extender, you send both Dragon and Aerial in the process, and your light is just any agent that matters. Like if you send a Venus with Neptune, you can send a Venus with this and then Neptune it back. But I even once sent a Shine Ball because I had Dark Venus in hand, and that was comedy, to say the least. But basically, this is incredibly good against branded game 2 and 3, because first off, if they don't establish Zombie World, which is kind of a common thing, you can hit the branded in red with Dragon, and you get to attack their graveyard with Aerial if Construct resolves. And because of that, they're forced to use branded in red, which means this Mirror Jade has very, very, very little value, because they also, like, outing this doesn't mean anything, because you activated a spell that forces branded in red, which forces their Chimera, and forces one of the activations of Mirror Jade out of you. So with 5 cards, you've dealt with like a major portion of the disruptions the deck is capable of. So that's very good. And with Zombie World, that's what Dragon can hit. And you will send Dragon with Shaddoll Fusion, so they can't ever do anything to negate the Dragon. Because if they like negate the Construct and you're wanting to send this, it kind of messes you up. But you don't have to do that. Anyways, yeah, Shaddoll package. And then Dark Ruler. This could be replaced with anything else. I'm still deciding some of the stuff in my side deck. But this one's undebatable because, like I said, Zombie World. Also, it just hits the bullshit trap decks. But I didn't even bother like doing Red Reboot or Feather Duster just because I don't care about any of them outside of like Branded in Red, Zombie World, and that's about it. I don't care about anything else, so I didn't want to go too hard. And plus, this deck also has some like like I said with the skill drain thing, this deck's already naturally resistant to a lot of these trap decks, so you don't have to go that hard. And then finally, for going first, anti-spell, this card's toxic as fuck. Yeah. But, you could replace, some of these for, like, the specific trap, like, counter trap and the, like, confiscation this deck has. I like those cards a lot, but I wanted to keep it simple, stupid, so that I just kept it very simple. But, yep. And that's it for the deck. Thank you all for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. One of the cards I want to fit back in, but it probably won't be anytime soon, is this one. Just because, again, Zombie World. This messes up Zombie World a lot, where it's basically unusable, and I don't want to get caught in that kind of line. But, yeah, that's basically it. Thank you all for watching. If you have any comments or anything, I don't know, just leave them. I definitely read them, but it doesn't mean I need to respond to them. And sometimes I actually just can't read them because I forget. But hopefully, even though I like don't have Small World in Baron, hopefully like alternatives can show you some pretty cool things. But like I said, like there's no true alternative for Baron that's as good, and by not having it, it is a substantial loss to the deck. Whereas Small World, I can cut it. I just replace it with something that's like comparable, but there is no comparison to Baron, so keep that in mind. But yep, that's about it. Thank you all for watching, and remember, Master Dinner Flax will take your soul.